Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be creating a function that counts every letter in the phrase and then gives us the total number. It gives us the number of times, then outputs the number of times every letter appears, and also a function, and also another function that counts every word in a parameter in a phrase, in a given phrase or maybe sentence, and then it tells us the number of times every word occurs or appears. So yeah, let's do this. So I'm going to be using our functions. So I'm going to name my function. Let me close my tabs. I'm going to name my function letter frequency, and then takes in our parameter phrase, and then our block of code. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to first create a frequency object to hold in a frequency object to hold our values. Okay, so an object is a data type that holds in like key value pairs. Okay, so we're going to first create that object to hold in each letter in the phrase. Okay, and then after that I'm going to create some kind of for loop that goes through every letter in the phrase given by the user. Okay, and then we're going to set up a conditioner that checks if the letter that checks the letter and that initializes each letter and outputs the number of times it occurs in the letter. This is how it's going to be. It will for example, let's say this is the phrase given by the user. Okay, so our for loop is going to go through this capital A, and then we're going to instruct it to check if it already exists in our frequency object. If yes, it should then increment capital A by 1. Okay, but if it doesn't exist, if it doesn't exist yet, it should initialize this capital A to 1, and then it should continue running like that. So that's what we're going to do basically. So I'm going to create check if letter exists in frequency object. If true, increment by 1. If false, set the value to 1. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm going to create my frequency object saying frequency, and then I'm going to this squigglies or curly braces, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to say for loop. I'm going to say const letter of phrase. Okay, and then you should do this. You should say if since we already know what to do, let me clear this. Okay, mind you, once we finish all our code, once our loop finishes, it's then going to return frequency to us. Okay, so we are going to say if letter exists in this object. So what we're going to write now is say if letter in frequency, which means if letter exists in the frequency object. Okay, it should increment this. You're going to say frequency letter. Okay, since this is it's going to take it as a property or as a key, then it should then increment it by 1. Okay, else it should set frequency letter to 1. Okay, so that's basically it. So let's see what's going to print out now. This is going to be console log letter frequency, and then we're going to pass in this phrase, Allah is the greatest. Okay, and now let's see. Okay, as you can see, this works. So A, capital A occurs once, L occurs 2 times, A, capital A occurs 2 times, which is, let's see if that's correct. Small letter A occurs 2 times, so it's small letter A, so it works. But what if you want to actually print, you want to actually log each letter? How are we going to do that? Like, we want each letter to occur like this: A, A, L, no, L, A, H. Okay, so we want each letter to like occur like this. How are we going to do it? Very simple. We're going to come here inside this our for loop and say console log letter. So let's run the function. See, now it works. But what if, let's see if this is not actually well. Let's say Allah is the greatest, E is 1, E is 1, and none has the right to be worshipped. But yeah, okay, let's run this and let's see. Okay, extend this. Okay, so we say we have capital A equals once, capital L 2 times, A small letter A equals 4 times, H 6 times. Let's see if this is correct. Let's check the number of times H occurs. So H1, this is 1, and then small letter H. It doesn't say capital letter H and small letter H the same thing as the same thing, because they have different values in the converter. So this is another small letter H, which is 2, then 3. Okay, I think that's wrong. He said H occurs 6 times, and right now we're counting just 3. Let's count again. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I made a mistake. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. So it's correct. So that's our simple function. So we created this object called function to hold our values, our key value pairs. Okay, and then we created a loop to loop through every letter in the phrase, in the given phrase, and then we instructed the computer to log every letter as it's going through them, as it's looping through them. That is why you see A, L, and the rest. And then we set the conditional that if the letter already exists in this object, it should increment that key by 1. It should increment the value of the key by 1. Okay, so for example, this is frequency. Okay, let's say okay, you get the point. So if letter is capital A, that's going to be, so for example, this place frequency letter. So let's say it is capital letter A. So we're now asking that if it already exists in this frequency, it should increment by 1. But but if not, you set it to 1. That is why you see 1 here, and there is no other capital letter A. That is why it's only 1. Okay, and we say once it's finished looping through each letter, it should then return the frequency object. That is why you see this object here, every object here. Yeah, that's why you see these objects. It's key value pairs. Okay, so this is an object. You see that everything is wrapped into these squigglies or curly braces. So yeah, that is it. So another thing that I want to do now is create a word counter. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing that we did for letters. We're going to do it for words. So instead of counting each letter and then telling us how many times each letter occurs, we are going to count words. So for example, Allah occurs once, so we're going to say once. Okay, is occurs 1, 2, so you're going to say twice. Okay, you're going to say 2 times. You get the point. So that one's do now. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do this in another video. So we're going to be creating a function that counts every word in a given sentence or phrase. So it's going to count, for example, if you have this phrase, it's going to count, it's going to look through each word, and then tell us the number of times each word occurs. So this occurs once, it's going to say once, just as you can see for letters here. Is occurs twice, it's going to say is twice. Okay, so that's going to be that. So I'm going to create a function called word frequency. I'm going to say phrase and then function. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing that we did here. First create an object named frequency. So we're going to say let frequency equals to this. But now we have a problem. How do we ensure that this thing does not loop through the phrase letter by letter, but instead as a word? How do we do that? Very simple. We're just going to like make sure that it sees the phrase as an array. So as this is going to say, it's going to see this like this, and then it's going to say like this. Like I'm going to make sure that there's quotes around every letter, every word, so it can see it as an array. So it's going to look through this one as one. So you're going to look this word, and then look through this word again, look through this word again, look this word again, and like that. So how do we do this? Well, there's a method known as, let me remove these questions. There's an array method known as split, and that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to split all these words. I'm going to split them by what separates them normally, which is space. Okay, I don't know if I'm making sense, but I'm going to like do that right now. So I'm going to use this split method to separate our words into an individual unit. So this is going to be, I'm going to say phrase dot split, and I'm going to say this. So this is space. I'm going to store these into a variable known as words. So if we console log this, let's see what's going to give us if we console log words. Okay, it doesn't, we don't have to say console log, just say return words. Okay, and then we come down here and say console log word frequency. Then I'm going to give you this phrase. Let's see what's going to give us. Okay, perfect. So this is what we want. So it's treating it like as an array. So when we write our for loop now, it's going to loop through these words one by one, just like you have an array of, just like if you have an array of numbers, just like how it like loops through these arrays one by one. That's how it's going to loop through these words. So let's write our for loop program. So it's going to be exactly what we did here. Okay, so it's going to be for const word of words, and then I'm going to say, okay, so I want to print out every letter just like we did before. No, forget it. Let's just do conditional. You should check if word already exists in our frequency object. If yes, it should increment word by 1. Okay, so another way to write these increment by 1 is just, you can do this, okay, or you can do something like this, then you copy this, then you say this, do like this, and you say +1. But most times you will never see it written this way because it's long, so we just prefer to write it as this. So if word already exists in the frequency object, it should increment by 1. Else it should set, okay, that was a mistake. Yes, it should you should set that word to 1. Okay, and then return. This time we're not returning words. This time we're going to return frequency. So let's see what's going to give us. Boom. So as you can see, Allah occurs once, is occurs 2 times, there occurs 2 times, greatest foot period. The reason why period is here is because there is nothing separating, there's no separation between greatest and period, so it treats it as 1. But I can just remove this period. Okay, I can just remove this period. Okay, and let me see what's going to print out. Okay, the period's going to go. It's going to go. Yeah, it's gone. So this is what we want. This is what we want to do. But just like we did before, okay, I think this is cool. But like I said, this letter function is the same thing as this. This word function is the same as this. The only difference here is this line of code. So what can we do? Because as you can see that we created a frequency object here. We did it here, and then this loop also the same thing, and we also return frequency. So what can we do to shorten the length of our code? Or we can do simple. We can just call the function here. You can just call. Let me show you what we can do. So let me remove this. All the things that are similar, and then bring this thing. So what I can just do is just call the function letter frequency, and then I'm going to pass in words, and then we're going to say return. We're going to put return here. So it should still give us the same thing that we saw earlier. So let's see. Control Alt N. Okay, boom, same thing. Same thing. As you can see, we did this in just 2 lines of code. Very simple. So that's basically it. Thanks for watching.